find it easy to understand what God has in mind for you, for your family, for your people, for the world? Is God's will fully clear for us all? In today's Gospel, the disciples come down from the mountain questioning themselves. Peter, James, and John have witnessed the transfiguration of Jesus Christ. They have heard God's voice saying, "This is my beloved Son, listen to him." But they were charged not to tell anyone what they had seen, and they kept the matter for themselves, questioning what the rising of the dead meant. We see how difficult it is, even for those who seem so close to Jesus Christ, to understand fully what he has in mind for them. Maybe we have been shocked in the first reading by God's request that Abraham sacrifice his only son Isaac at the altar on the mountain. How can a God of life and justice ask a man to sacrifice his son? This is very difficult to understand. But what God has in mind was to multiply the descendants of Abraham. He is a God of blessings. Abraham's faith tells us not to cling on what we understand, but more surely on our faith in him. Sometimes we don't understand why things are going the way they are, but we believe we know how to continue because God tells us how to. And the God of Jesus Christ is showing us the way. Our faith will be filled by his blessings, as numerous as the stars of heaven. This is precisely what Jesus was pointing to when he was mentioning that the Son of Man would rise from the dead. We understand better than Peter, James, and John in the Gospel because we know Jesus is talking about his death on the cross and his resurrection from the dead. God's will is to free mankind from the slavery of sin and death, to save us, to share with us his kingdom of love and communion. This we know and believe. And this is possible only if the only begotten Son, Jesus Christ, experiences a human life and a human death. This is difficult to understand, but it is an enlightening truth. Our human life and death can be filled by God's life and resurrection. The cross is difficult to understand. Our daily crosses are difficult to understand, but they have the power to receive God's light, God's life. They can help us listen to Jesus Christ rising from the dead. Amen.